Welcome back to another edition of Fly Tying for Beginners. Today we're going to tie a caddis wet fly that was designed for use in lakes up in Canada, and this is the Dock Spratley. The hook I have in a vise is a 2 extra long nymph hook. I'm going to use 70 denier black thread. Going to put a base of thread down on the hook, bring it back to where it would hang at the barb of the hook. Get rid of that excess. For the tail we're going to use a Grizzly Hackle fibers, and I'm using one that is mostly soft hackle. You want to take the hackle and even out the hackles in your finger before you rip them off, and now you'll know those tips will be even. There we are, nice and even, and we want this tail to be about 3/4 the length of the shank. This is a caddis fly that you use in lakes and fishing it deep. Going to tie that in and tie the rest of that down. And for the rib we want a oval silver tinsel, a fine tinsel. I'm going to tie this in, and I'm going to make that tag end the length of the body. And you can let it roll over to the opposite side. Now for the body I have black yarn. This is wool yarn, and I reduced it in half. You want to kind of put it on there and wrap it to see how thick it's going to be. But I reduced it in half. You want it fairly thin. I'm going to tie this in and leave that tag end the length of the body also. Bring that to the back and then move that forward. And leaving these tags the length of the body here will help give you a nice under body. Help you thicken up that body there. I'm going to just hold it with my finger to kind of keep it on top and wrap that all in. And we're going to stay about 2 eye lengths from the eye of the hook. I'm going to take that black yarn, and you see I twisted the 2 fibers back together. And we're going to wrap that. It's okay with this wool if you get some fuzzy stuff, that's good. And we're going to tie that off. Going to put a few wraps in front to lock it in, and then remove the excess. Probably hear it's raining outside. Now I'm going to take the oval tinsel and I'm going to palmer that forward. And about 4 wraps is sufficient. And I'm going to tie that in. Make sure whenever you tie tinsel in, you want to wrap that tight because you don't want it coming off on you. Put a few wraps in front to lock it in, and we'll remove that. Clean up that a little bit. Now for the collar, I'm going to take a soft Grizzly hackle, and we're only going to use a couple of wraps on this. So I'm going to measure it by eye here. That's a little bit too long. That's still a little bit too long. And we're going to go with this. And I prepared that collar with the crew cut. I'm going to place it, tie it in with the concave side to the shank. And secure that. Take my Hackle pliers. And we got about 2 wraps there. Going to tie that off. Break off the excess. Now I'm going to hold everything toward the rear. And when you do this, you really find out if you tied your tinsel tight enough. Because when you pull back on it, you have a tendency of pulling on that tinsel. And you can pull it out of position very easily if you don't have it tightened enough. I got one hackle that's going forward. I'm just going to clip that one off. I'm going to clean up the head here, and I'm going to bring the thread back on the hackle. Just a couple of wraps so that it goes towards the rear. Yep. I add a little bit too much there. There we go. That's better. Now we're going to take a ringneck pheasant tail, and we're going to do the same thing as with the tail material. We're going to pick it up, and we're going to hold them, line the tips up here before we take it off. Then we can hold them all up on the top, and we can cut them off. I cut them off close, and then I'm going to get rid of most of the excess. We're going to tie these in. You don't want a real lot. You want this semi-sparse. And we're going to bring that just barely past the body. And we're going to tie them in. Secure the... Let me back that off a bit. I don't want to cut them too close to the eye. I don't want to crowd that eye. And we'll cut that off. Now I will clean up the head. You may have noticed it falling off that head there. You want to make sure that that's not going to happen. Bring that back. Now for the head, I'm going to take 2 Peacock Herl, and I'm going to tie these in by the tip, but I'm going to cut off the fragile tips. I'm going to take a little bit of head cement, put a little bit of head cement on that head right now. It's mostly on my side if you didn't see it. This will help protect the Peacock Herl. And we'll take this and wrap the head. Back that off. When you're using 2, they sometimes have a tendency to split on you. I get a nice Herl head there. Oh, let me back that off. It's sliding on me. There we go. Tie them in, pull those tags back, and we can break them off. And then we'll tie off a little bit of a head there. Take our whip finish. And here we have the Dock Spratley. Hope that you learned something from this video. Hope that you would subscribe to my channel. Please refer me to your friends. Leave comments, questions, suggestions. And most of all, thank you very much for watching my videos.